winning, can't nobody hold me. Can't nobody. We winning, yeah. We winning, yeah. We winning, can't nobody hold me, yeah.
Next story, Sam, man, it was announced earlier that T.I. is going to be joining the Atlanta City Task Force. Now, before you start going crazy and say, damn, T.I. working with police, let me go ahead and go through the article. Now, the 25-member team was announced on Tuesday, July 2nd, which will include city activists, council members, and criminal justice reform volunteers. Now, the group will gather and brainstorm on alternative ways to use the Atlanta City Detention Center, which now is being used to house people for minor traffic violations and city ordinances and things like that. Now, it goes on to say that the jail has been in a persistent decline in population since the building was built in 1995. It is the top priority of Mayor Bottoms to put the underutilized facility to a more productive use as a multi-faceted use center for wellness, healing, skills building, economic mobility, and crime prevention for people, families, and communities impacted by the history of our over-incarceration. Now, press release, was released about this, and T.I. is going to join this. I know when I first, read the title, it kind of seemed like that maybe he was working with the police, but it looks like from what we're reading here, it's going to be a nice little program for the city and them trying to find ways, to use the jail, I guess, for a real rehabilitation, it looks like to me.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
And good for where's he at? Down in Atlanta, obviously in Georgia. Yep. Good for Georgia and good for the people down there. People obviously are going to have fun because anytime you tie his name in with anything to do with law enforcement, people have a good time with it. We don't know anything that happened out there. We have no idea. Don't know what happened with Stan. We wasn't there.
Right. Right.
But it does seem as though T.I. is trying to put his best foot forward and do what's right for the community, do what's right for his people down there in the state of Georgia, and just kind of just paying it forward. So I'm not going to sit here and gripe on a brother that's trying to do right and do the right thing. Like I said, people are going to have their fun about it. What do you think about it?
I think it's a start. I think a lot of times we look at these people and it's because they got millions of dollars. We put them in positions that they probably not even, even qualified to be in. But I think that T.I. has always been, even though maybe he made a few mistakes, I guess, speaking on certain topics, I always thought that he was real genuine about everything that he was trying to do. All the way from the outset, I kind of seen that, with him. He felt a lot of pressure over his career. He has a lot of controversy, or a lot of people would say, oh, this dude, he's working with the police. We remember the commercial and all that, which, you can take it how you want to take it. But I think it sounds like a great thing. We need more. And you talk about the jails and you talking about rehabilitation. Anytime somebody could put a program together for reentry where you could teach them some skills, even about credit or whatever, I think that's always a bonus. There's no way you can find anything bad in that, and helping those guys that go through the justice system to try to get some type of workable skills. Because when you think about it, if that's the way it was set up, a lot of these guys will not end right back up in that revolving door, because they will learn maybe a carpentry skill, and you might have a percentage of them who may get jobs, but you also might have a percentage of them who say, forget that, I'm gonna go start my own business. So the more skills, electrician, plumbing, that they can teach, I think will be the better. But we'll see how that turns out, man.
It's something to be optimistic about when you can look at certain people, and we got certain testimony like a Wallow. He resonates and kind of comes to my attention when you can see what he did out the penitentiary and to create a brand for himself, to come out and do his thing on Instagram, had the shirts, had a merch, and create a name for himself. Even though obviously Gilly's his cousin and Gilly had some fame in the rap game for years, it's still, he had to get out and do his thing. And you see a number of different people, men and women who were incarcerated, that end up being entrepreneurs. I see success story after success story on Instagram and video social medias of people who dealt with situations where they were in jail doing time and now they're out doing real estate, or now they own this or do that. It's almost a renaissance, even though a lot of the distraction, you got the president, you got this, you got that. It's a renaissance when it comes to business and black business. You scroll through your social media, and I can't go through 4 or 5 posts without seeing a black skincare business or black food truck business or electronics. It's beautiful to see. And when you get out of a situation where you might have had to do some time, And we all know, especially when we were growing up, wasn't no ex-con or no felon get no fucking job. They ask you right there. But now you don't even need it. You go ahead and grind, you bust your ass, you don't hear take no for an answer. You break through those invisible doors and gates, grab your phone, do what you got to do, get savvy with today, and you go ahead and make you some money in 90 days or less, man. It's a beautiful thing we got going on out
I think that you know, you bring up Wallow and you seen him, and I think it even started with him while he was even in jail. He started seeing the technology and he had his plan mapped out, like, yo, he seen it, like, yo, this all you got to do with social media shit, like just do this and that. He's like, yo, I'm gonna go so hard when I get out. I'm gonna make this pop. And he's seen it, he visualized it, and now he's making it happen. It's actually a real beautiful story, because that's something we got to see somebody go from zero, you know what I mean, to wherever he's at right now. So yeah, man, it sounds cliche, but it's just like that if you really want something bad enough, you're going to get it, you're going to do it. If you really, like, think about it, when you was a kid, when you really wanted to do something, you found a way to make that happen. You take that same, you know, tenacity and that same mindset, you can make it happen, period.
It's just as simple as we were talking about this yesterday. You know, a bum, he's sitting on the street, she's sitting on the street, and she wants the $3 or $4, he wants the $3 or $4 to go grab them liquor and a sandwich. Every single day, they're gonna do what they gotta do to get that $3 or $4 to get that beer and that sandwich. And that bare minimum is an achievement in their life, because they set their mind to a goal and they did it. Babies, human beings, we're all the same way. And you drop something on your Twitter every day, and it may seem cliche, may go over a lot of people's head. You got to see it first. You got to see it first. A lot of us have this cloud of doubt in our head that we just don't really believe in our hearts that we could do what it is we set out to do. We've all dealt with it. We all had it. You get in the comfortable routine, like 50 was talking about with his boys, when you just are comfortable in where you're at. You're comfortable in your job. You're comfortable in your life. You're comfortable here. And you almost forget about those dreams that you had. And this is what I love about, and this is why I try not to never lose my childhood innocence and excitement. Even though I may not show it out here, right here, that energy I try to never get away from, because when we were kids and we were innocent, that was all that matters. Like you said yesterday, the only thing that was life is fucking playing outside, wondering what we were going to eat and enjoy, who was going to ball out against us, repeat. It was life, it was love, it was great. And when you can kind of put that and throw that into context as an adult, even though we got bills, we got life, we got responsibilities, if you could just focus on what it is you want to do, might sound cliche, man, but I guarantee you that shit will happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. So yeah, definitely shout out to T.I., you know, for what he's doing. He's also you know, doing something down there. We did a story a few months ago where he's you know, doing some other work. I forget what he was doing, but I know a long time ago he was building like some low income houses. So a lot of people don't always publicize, you know, on what they do. But you know, shout out to the rappers and entertainers who are, you know, taking their time and money and doing that. I think this is going to be a good transition into this next story, which is the Floyd Mayweather. And we know that T.I. and Floyd Mayweather,
that's funny.
You know, I've had a history, you know, of going back and forth. Remember, T.I. put the diss song out, calling him out about, you know, him, you know, what type, the way he's using his money. Now, Floyd put this video out today where he was showing some money, and y'all can see it right there on the screen. Money, and here it is.
Today is a Rose Gold day, as you can see. Arnold Schwarzenegger, limited edition AP, all factory, 1.8 million right here. The $20 bills section. We like to call this the Andrew Jackson section, but I like to call it wallpaper. 200,000 in 20s. I heard it, so you can get the biggest Chanel bag in the store if you want it. Well, it's the biggest Chanel bag in the world. I got this bag from Karl Lagerfeld. R.I.P. May he rest in peace. Money getting motherfucker like myself, always showing out, always talking shit. Like 1.8 million, you know how it is. Check it out. Let them know it's all hundreds. Money made all motherfucking day.
Sam, man, when you first seen this video, what were your first thoughts? Because you can look at it, you know, a few different ways. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I looked at it a few different ways. It was looked at like, okay, here's Floyd just doing what Floyd does. And then on another aspect, it was motivational. And I'm just like, man, look at that. Now, not that money inspires or is at the top of the list of being inspiring, but we all know that wealth and success are things that come hand in hand and things that we all aspire to be. Now, that kind of wealth in my possession would never touch the phone, would never see the light of day. no one would ever fucking know about it. That's the difference between me and Floyd. But I like to take it on a positive level and try to say, okay, if this brother, a brother from Grand Rapids, Michigan, born in the gutter, born from the dirt, can't even read, can go out here based off of his talent and visualize and see it before it's there, go down in history as having the greatest boxing record of all time,